Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Krawler Yugioh deck profile. For those of you that don't know, the Krawler deck is an insect deck that focuses on being able to utilize the many flip effects of the Krawler main deck monsters, and then be able to summon out the different X-Krawler link monsters that we have as well, for an additional effect of being able to use these link monsters based on the number of Krawler monsters we control, and where some of their link arrows point to for those Krawler monsters also. You never know. We haven't had support for the Krawler deck since the Power of the Elements booster set, so maybe right around the corner where we're due for some new Krawler support. Only a matter of time until we know for sure, but as always, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters for the Krawler monsters, and our three ofs. We're running 3 copies of Krawler Soma. You can target one face-up monster you control, special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, change the targeted monster to face-down defense. Also, you cannot change its battle position for the rest of this turn. During your main phase, you can reduce this card's level by 2 or 4, and if you do, special summon one Krawler monster with a different name from your hand, deck, or graveyard whose total levels equal the total amount reduced in face-up or face-down defense position. You can only use each effect of Krawler Soma once per turn, but Soma really helps to set up a good majority of your link plays, being able to give you more and more Krawler monsters, while being able to rely on setting the other lower level ones face down to then be able to use their flip effects. You're using Krawler Soma more as just a special summon option, and then being able to get more monsters on the field also, since the monster that you'll target with Soma's original effect will be placed face down afterwards. We're also running 3 copies of Krawler Receptor. With its flip effect, you can add one Krawler monster from your deck to your hand. If this face-up card in its owner's control leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 2 Krawler monsters with different names from your deck in face-down defense position, except for Receptor. You can only use this effect of Receptor once per turn, but being able to have the added option for the add off of the flip effect, and then the face-up destruction of leaving the field because of an opponent's card effect, giving you more monsters on the field to use as that summon resource. So just for consistency to get monsters out on the field, I'd say it's another 3 of for sure in the deck. We're also running 2 copies of Krawler Dendrite. With its flip, you can send one monster from your deck to the graveyard, and if it's in the owner's control, leaves face up because of an opponent's card effect, you can special summon 2 Krawler monsters with different names from your deck in face down defense, giving you more of those special summon options, which you'll see with the other monster effects as well for the Krawler cards. And then 2 copies of Krawler Yugioh. With the flip, you can special summon 1 Krawler monster from your hand or graveyard in face-up attack position or face-down defense, except for Krawler Yugioh, and then having the special summon for 2 Krawler monsters as well if it leaves by an opponent's card effect face-up while on the field also. So you always have that consistency for more and more Krawler monsters to be able to then summon out onto the field also. With the last of the 2 ofs being 2 copies of Deus Ex Krawler. When your opponent activates a card effect that targets this face-down monster quick effect, you can change this card to face-up defense, negate the activation, and destroy that card. After this card is flipped face-up while it's in the monster zone, negate all monster effects activated on your opponent's field. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add to your hand from your deck to your hand 1 level 9 monster with a different original type and attribute than this card, and you can only use this effect of Deus Ex Krawler once per turn. But having more of the add option with this card depends on the monster that we want to search out. For it, it's more used for the monster effect negation in this deck, thanks to that card. With the last of the Krawler monsters being the 1 copy of Krawler Veneer and 1 Krawler Spine, having the destruction power of Krawler Spine by targeting a monster on the field and destroy it, and then the same special summon power as the other Krawler monsters, with Krawler Veneer being able to target up to 2 Krawler monsters in your graveyard and add them back to your hand, so more recycle power thanks to this card, along with the special summon play. And then the World Legacy monster that we run along with the Krawler monsters being our World Legacy World Armor. When a monster is flip summoned, you can special summon this card from your hand. If it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. And if this card is normal or set on the field, you can target face-up monster your opponent controls with special summon from the extra deck and return both that monster and this card to the hand. So having the add power as well for some of the World Legacy cards that we run in the deck as well, which count as more of the Krawler support, is a big help thanks to this monster also in the deck, with the rest of our main deck monsters just being 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, having more of a control option with this deck We're running a higher trap count, so that's where more of the hand trap lineup would have gone, but still having a card that can just stop our opponent's searches if we end up going second against them. This is definitely a going first deck, just wanting to set up your crawler monsters face down and your added back row traps to be able to respond to your opponent. For the spells that we do run in the deck, 3 copies of World Legacy and Shadow. All crawler monsters on the field gain 300 attack and defense. Once per turn, you can special summon a level 2 or lower insect monster from your hand and face up or face down defense. And when your flip monster is destroyed by battle with an opponent's monster, you can send that opponent's monster to the graveyard, so making it all the more wary for your opponent to want to attack into our monsters, because then this field spell will just make it so that the monster sent is the one that attacked into your crawler monster, and then just being able to special summon another one onto the field to then be able to go into our Link 2 monsters. And also 3 copies of World Legacy Survivor. You excavate the top 5 cards of your deck, add 1 excavated crawler or World Legacy card from your hand, and send the remaining cards to the graveyard. Otherwise, shuffle all excavated cards in the deck, and for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, you can have special summon monsters from the extra deck, except Link monsters, which really isn't a lockdown and for the deck anyway, since we're only running Link monsters in the extra deck to begin with also. With the rest of the spells being 2 copies of Pod Desires, and we're a good number of multiples in the deck, and the big plays are just the setups we can do to get into our Link monsters. So just more draw power using this card, and then the rest of these spells being 1 copy of Terraforming, and then the 1 Call by the Grave. You have more graveyard restriction for your opponent's hand traps, and then just using the Terraforming to be able to search out our World Legacy and Shadow, which gives us more of a boost in special summon for a good part of the plays we need to do in the deck also. And then for the traps, 3 copies of World Legacy Pawn, another card that can be searched off of our World Legacy Survivor, or even our setup with our World Legacy World Armor, if need be. Also, you can target a face-up monster, or you can target 1 face-down monster you control, change it to face-up attack or defense, and you can shuffle 1 crawler monster in your graveyard into the main deck, then target 1 face-up monster you control, change it to face-down defense. So, recycle power with even some of the cards you may have set up with our World Legacy Survivor, and then just being able to consistently flip up our own crawler monsters without needing our opponent to attack into them. And then also 3 copies of World Legacy's Mind Meld. When your opponent's monster activates effect while you control a crawler monster, the activate effect becomes return 1 face-up monster you control, your opponent controls to the hand, and you can banish this card from your graveyard. Then target 1 Link monster on the field, special summon 1 crawler monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard to your zone that monster points to. So the big play with this card is obviously to make our opponent bounce our own crawler monsters to then in turn give us 2 more crawler monsters on the field, thanks to that being our opponent's card effect. And then lastly, for the traps, 3 copies of Junk Sleep. If your opponent's normal or special summons a monster, you can change all face-down monsters defense position you control to face-up attack position. And then during the end phase, you can change all face-up monsters you control to face-down defense. So just being able to use and then reset our own crawler monsters as well, thanks to this card. With the last of our main deck and traps being 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, just with the number of traps we're running, a good number to set up more back row to then just set our crawler monster and then the good number of back row that we may have as well. For the extra deck, we're running 2 copies of X-Crawler Quality Arc, being 2 crawler monsters. If this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, while the owner controls it, you can target 2 crawler monsters with different names in your graveyard, special summon them in face-down defense, and apply these effects based on the number of crawler monsters you control. If it's 2 or more, all monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense. 4 or more, your opponent's card effects can be activated during the battle phase, and 6 or more, your monsters can attack directly, giving you some bigger monsters to then be able to swing into your opponent directly with, and then just being able to have it so your opponent can't reactivate anything, and they have to face the full brunt of your crawler flip effects when they attack into them. 2 copies of X-Crawler Synaphysis for the additional needing 2 Earth monsters. Crawler monsters this card point to cannot be destroyed by battle. It gains 300 attack and defense and can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. And if this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves because of an opponent's card effect and its owner's control, being able to target 2 crawler monsters with different names in your graveyard and special summon them in face-down defense. So when we use other cards like our World Legacy's Mind Meld, being able to have this card be the target to bounce will give us just more crawler monsters on the field also. And then lastly, for the crawler monsters, 2 copies of X-Crawler Neurogos, needing 2 insect monsters. If the crawler monsters this card point to cannot be destroyed by battle, gains 300 attack and defense, and if they battle an opponent's monster, any battle damage they inflict to your opponent is doubled as well. So having the added boost to those monsters along with the inflicted battle damage when this card points to them. And if this face-up card is destroyed by battle or leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can target 2 crawler monsters with different names in your graveyard, and once again special summon them face down in defense. So more and more setup. Every time you get rid of 1 crawler, 2 more show up. That's just how the deck is meant to work, as more of an insect infestation type of deck altogether. And then lastly, for the extra deck, 1 copy of Barricade Board Blocker, 1 Underclock Taker, 1 Haggard Lizardos, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, the 1 Nightmare Phoenix, the 1 also the Earth Charmer, and the 1 IP Masquerena, with our bigger links just being the Nightmare Unicorn and the Axis Kotaku. As I said before, our only lockout in this deck would be Link monsters, so we run the majority Link monsters, and then we don't have a problem there for what we can summon out. As for some of the go-to plays in the deck, our Field Spell definitely does help with consistency along with Krawler's Soma, so if we have one of the lower level Krawler monsters, we can summon this card out, then have our Soma in our hand, target that face-up monster, special summon this card, and then change that target monster to face down defense, and then it can't change its battle position for the rest of this turn. Well, with this card also, during the main phase, you can reduce this card's level by 2 or 4, and then special summon a Krawler monster with a different name from your deck and or graveyard, whose total levels equal the amount reduced in face up or face down. So then we can go for the level 2 option for another Krawler monster, reducing the level to then summon it out onto the field face up. This will give us our Link 2 play using those 2 monsters as well to then summon out our X Krawler Quality Arc, which you want to make sure the face down one is pointing to the face down one as well, and then having the added play for those monsters as well. So if we make our opponent have this card leave the field, let's say we have our World Legacy's Mind Meld, we can use this for the effect to then bounce this card and then give us back those resources, and then the additional flip we may have thanks to that card also. The only difference is World Legacy and Shadow, when activated, can give us the normal summon and then just a special summon of a Krawler monster from our hand to then replay the same Link 2 play I mentioned before, just in the form of that spell instead of Soma, which I would say Soma is definitely more consistent because then it just gives us that additional monster on top of the summon of this card from our hand by targeting another Krawler monster on the field to summon it out. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Wanted to update the Krawler deck, just one of the overlooked decks, I would say, and like I said, couldn't just have support right around the corner. You never know, for us to be able to use in the deck for added broken support. You never know. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.